experience. It was not the glorious entry into ministry that you all hope for. You know, it's not what you really are set your mind to do when you graduate from college and get married. But that's where we're going. And as we loaded up our car, we got in, we're driving north, and we have a conversation about the next season of our life. Been married 3 months. We're already looking at the next season of our life. And we sound like a couple of 8-year-olds in recess. I say, what do you want to do? She said, I don't know. What do you want to do? We drive a little further. I don't know. We didn't have a clue what we wanted to do. But in the midst of it, somewhere she said, wouldn't it be great if we could just live in a big house with a bunch of teenagers and disciple them and tell them about Jesus? And I have a gifting. I can spot what's wrong with the plan from 100 miles off. It's rather irritating, actually. And I looked at her and I said, well, there's only 2 problems with that. First of all, that kind of setting probably doesn't exist. Second of all, you're 19 years old. Yeah. You know, if there's a home for teenagers, so they're teaching them about Jesus, she'd be in the home, not running the home. Little did we know that a couple of weeks later, the man would be standing in front of us who'd heard we were looking for a ministry role. And he said, I direct a Christian home for troubled young teenagers. We're looking for house parents who will live with them and disciple them and teach them about Jesus. Are you interested? I feel Kelsey's each individual nail dig into my arm as it begins to scream. This is exactly what she had felt on her heart when we were driving. We interviewed for that job 3 times. 3 weekends we went and spent in the home. And the difficulty they were having was on the first weekend we went to spend time in the home, the Lord told the director that he was supposed to hire us. But the only problem was we were 21 and 19 years old. Some of the kids in the house were only a couple of months younger than Kelsey was. And so to hire us to be mom and dad was a hard thing for him. I remember him hiring us and saying, this is either going to make me look really smart or really stupid. He actually had to go to the state legislature to get a variance in the code to get us to be legally able to work there. Suddenly, I was dad of these 8 teenage foster sons that were all juvenile delinquents. Kelsey was mom. She was doing all the cooking for the 8 boys, and Kelsey and myself, cooking for 10. Her mother had never cooked. Her mother, I never saw her mother with a cookbook in her life. Her mother, if she wanted to eat something, would reach for the phone book, but not the cookbook. She just never, ever cooked. And so it was a high-speed education for us, but it was good. And it's funny, we loved those kids, we shared Christ with them, we cooked for them, we hauled them all over creation, we listened to them cry, we discipled them, we celebrated with them, and I never put 2 and 2 together until this week, that in doing that, there was a connection with the long-term call of God that had on our life to take kids into our home. We were doing what we were called to do 19 years ago, and I didn't put that together until this week. That said, the call to the prayer movement goes really as far back as that, or almost as far back. 11 years ago, we moved from East Tennessee, where we'd been youth pastoring, up to Cincinnati, Ohio to plant a church. We started church planting, started Sunday services, started doing prayer meetings on Saturday nights, and we learned very quickly that there was way more fire and way more joy on our prayer meetings than there was on our Sunday mornings. And so our prayer meetings sometimes actually eclipsed our Sunday mornings. We had more people in prayer, it felt like, than we did on the Sunday morning. And Kelsey kind of ran those, and one day she said, you know, I think when we pray tonight, we're going to have the guitar player just play the entire time while we're praying. And I remember thinking, well, that's going to be distracting.